Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Angelica. Good morning, Naomi. Hey, good morning, Jody Ann. Good morning, Naomi. Hey, I'm glad to see you. Actually, I can't. None of you have your uh, profile picture or camera on. So, but anyway, I can. I'm glad to see you again. Um, uh, Well, I don't have my profile picture because I'm using, you guys understand that my computer broke down on Tuesday, and I haven't got a chance to take it to the repair shop. I would normally take it to the Best Buy where there are these, crew called Geek Squad, and I haven't got a chance yet because I'm swamped with a lot of every day, tons of. I'm using so as a temporary expedient, I'm using my old computer, which I haven't used for the last 3 years because this computer was already outdated. This computer is running on Windows 10. So they are Windows have gone up to 11 already, like since 3 years ago. Windows 10 has security issues, right? I mean, they don't support Microsoft doesn't support Windows 10 anymore. So since I'm using Windows 10 on this old computer, I have I might be exposed to a lot of security um, threats. So definitely I will need to get my other computer fixed. But in the meantime, I'll have to rely on this. So I don't have my profile picture yet on it. I'm gonna have to do it later. And maybe another thing is there uh, on this old computer there is no such thing as touch screen. I mean um, I can use let's see, something like OneNote, and it's taking so much time. I can't even bring it up. So I will be quite limited to what I can do. Um, but that's it's temporary. So please bear with me. The Wednesday class also had to um, I had to manage with this limited features on Wednesday. So, let's see. I just want to make sure that. So even though I may not be able to use like whiteboard, whiteboard has served me very well, and although it was not that great either, with the touch, um, uh, the touch screen didn't work that well with the like stylus, but it worked fine with my fingers, with the fingertip, I could. Okay, now this is OneNote. I mean, on Windows 11, OneNote it looks different, but because this is, and it has a lot of useful features, and also I can just touch the screen. But this one, I will have to draw with the mouse, but it's better than nothing. And then, okay, so let me open. So it's time to actually do some hands-on practice, hands-on exercise on the how to find n, right? In our last class, we did theoretical background of natural log, right? Remember that. Um, why, first of all, why we need to use log to solve for n. In other words, when the exponent is the unknown in question, when the exponent is the unknown in question, we have no other way of doing it other than uh, by using log. But among different types of base, among different types of bases for log, um, there are common log, which uses 10 as the base, binary log, which uses 2 as the base, and common log, natural log, which uses Euler's number as the base. It's most convenient and fail-safe to use um, natural log. And so why natural log? To explain that, I introduced the concept of Euler's number. And since Euler's number is a number that is based on a irrational, Euler's number is an irrational number, irrational, right? Then it is only fitting, it's only fitting and justified to use Euler's number as the base of the log, because the number the number we want to take the log of may be irrational number as well. We don't know, right? Irrational number, it could be rational number or irrational number. But if it can handle irrational number, it goes without saying it can also handle the rational number. So that's why we use natural log, because of that continuity of time that the irrational number can capture. So so now let's take a look at this example. And you must have this. I want you to have this file in front of you. Why do I have so many? Okay, that's. Okay, when I opened it, a lot of things opened. And this one. Okay, so you have this file, right? Because you downloaded this last time. So I want you to open this again. Let me know if you have it in front of you. Just want to make sure that you have. Okay, so you all have this file in front of you. Angelica, you have this file in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good, Jody, and good, Angelica. And Brandon, do you have this file in front of you? Brandon, Fahad, do you have this file in front of you? Fahad, I see your microphone, but seems like something's not right with your microphone or audio, because I see that. Jeremiah, do you have this file in front of you? Jeremiah?
Yes.
Okay, great. Mahid, you have this file in front of you? Mahid? Maricel, do you have this file in front of you? Maricel, are you there? Yeah, all right, good. Naomi, do you have this file in front of you? Naomi?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Nikari, do you have this file in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Noel, do you have this file in front of you? Noel?
Yeah, I got this file in front of me.
Okay, great, great. And Vivian, Vivian, do you have this file in front of you? Vivian? All right, I'll have to assume that everyone has that file. Now, if you have that file in front of you, please delete the highlighted cells. I mean, um, uh, not everything, but row 18, leave it alone, right? Please leave it alone. And row 19, you need to delete. Row 20, delete. Um, and row 26, delete the highlighted cells. Delete the highlighted cells. So here, first, let's go to row 19, cell C19, where so this is a something we already know. You have your principal is 10K. You want to grow it into 30K. Um, and currently the market interest rate is 24.57. And this, you never entered this manually, right? You see what I did? I entered it, I made it equal to B18, and where B18 is a result of a calculation, result of a formula. And although it's showing only 2 decimals, actually it's rounded, right? We don't, and if I use, if I increase decimals, you will see, you see what? This goes on even to how many digits, it goes, it's still a rational number because it doesn't go on forever. But, it has like, 10, 11, 12 digits, and 12 decimal places. How many are they? But whatever it is, it's we don't, it's rounded to the nearest hundredth. And I've been telling you, by default, you don't use, by default, we round it to the nearest hundredth or the thousandth, nearest thousandth. So in other words, we don't use any more than 2 to 3 decimal places. Why? Because it's meaningless. I mean, any 100th, right? second decimal place is 100th of a 1%. Third decimal place, 3 decimal places means 1,000th of 1%. And how much meaning, how much impact does it have on the actual number? If it is, think about it. 4th decimal place, that would be like 1 hundredth. I mean 10,000th of 1%, and its impact on the number would be very almost insignificant, immaterial. So we limit the use of the decimals to only round it to the nearest 100th or 1,000th. And 100th seems, reasonable, because, especially if it is, currency, if it is, amount of money, right? Dollar value of something. We don't use anything below cent. The lowest denomination is a cent. Not only in the U.S., but also in many other countries. Euros also have. A euro has cents. In French, it's called centime. Centime. Also, that means cent. So for currency, nobody uses no country uses anything below 100th of that denomination. So there's no need for rounding it, if it is dollar value, right? No, there's no point in using anything below 2 decimal places. At maximum, 3 decimal places, 1/10 of 1 cent, right? Sometimes that is used. also in percentage, the maximum decimals we go is 3 decimal places because there's no point below that, right? There's no point to go below that. And also, why 3 decimal places? Well, since we use commas every 3 digits, right? So just by counting commas, we know easily whether it's 11, whether it is million or billion or trillion. So it's an extension of that logic, right? We use 3 decimal with 3 zeros for decimals, so for also 3 zeros for thousands, for commas. So for also decimal places, 3 zeros, right? But anyway, looking at this, okay, APR, currently the market rate is 24.57. So question is obvious. How long will it take to grow your 10K to 30K? And the compounding frequency is annual. So when compounding frequency is annual, it's we don't need to really think much. It's just follow the formula, which is natural log of future value over principal, right? So everyone is doing this with me, right? And then divided by natural log of 1 plus r. Okay. And hit enter. And then here, this time it is quarterly compounding. It's quarterly compounding. We know the correct answer should be 5, right? But when the compounding is quarterly, it gets more complicated. The formula will need to be, so I would rather do it this way. I've been telling you I've been emphasizing the benefit of making adjustment outside the formula so that the formula will be simpler. So in this case, I made adjustment outside the formula. So you have principal of 10K, target future value of 30K, APR. We already found that APR, right? APR is 22.59, which we already found, from our last example, right? By finding the periodic rate first and then multiplying that by 4, we found it. So I just linked to it. So here, so using the periodic rate, of course, I can also make that equal to this cell, right? In other words, I can make this cell equal to this one. So equal sign and E25. Now, then the question is, how many quarters will it take? How many quarters? And we know the answer is 20. And let's see if we're gonna let's see if you're gonna get 20. So FV over P. Okay, you can just click it in. Natural log of 1 plus R, the periodic rate, and enter 20 quarters. Now, that's not the answer yet. Why? Because the question asked in years, right? The problem asked it in years. So then, to final answer must be in years, right? Because that was what was asked. So then all you need to do is just divide this by 4. We'll get 5 years, right? We'll get 5 years, exactly 5 years, right? Then if you do it this way, then it will get a little more complicated, but not a big problem. You just need to make the adjustment to the formula. Okay, so So everyone got this so far? Everyone got this result? Hmm?
Yes.
Okay, good. Shouldn't be that difficult. Now here, uh, first, we will need to take a natural log of fv over p, and then divide it by natural log of 1 plus Uh, this is APR, but that's not quarterly rate. So we need to make adjustment to APR. And we know we must divide it by 4. But don't manually enter 4 there, because if you do that, you cannot recycle that formula over and over. Always soft coding, right? So M is in what? D21, right? So yeah. And then if you hit enter, you'll get 20. Instantaneously, you should know that's not years, that's quarters. So to turn it into years, what do you need to do? Well, we need to divide it by 4 again, right? We need to divide it by 4, which is in also D21. So you enclose the whole thing, you put the whole thing in the parenthesis and divide it by D21, hit enter, we finally arrived at 5. Okay? So everyone got this too? Everyone? All right, I will have to assume that everyone got this. All right, so any questions so far? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. And suppose you want to do it by, uh, you can do it by also, you see, Excel's built-in function. Let me show you. But then, I don't want you to use that. Go to n period, n period, and it's not here. So I go to financial. But then you still need to make an adjustment, because it's financial calculators are always based on the periodic rate. So it's n period, right? N period, and give it what it's asking for. Rate. The rate is here. That's the rate. But then the problem is, oh, that's APR. That's APR. You cannot use that. So what do you need to do? You'll need to divide it by, right? Still, the adjustment must be made. D21 divided by D21. There's no payment. The present value, here's the present value. Again, you must enter that as negative because it's cash outflow. Now, that's one thing I don't like about financial calculators. You have to make distinction between, which one is cash inflow, which one is cash outflow. It's not a big deal, but still cumbersome. Target future value here, 30K, and then it gives you 20, right? But we know that 20 is not year but quarter, so eventually you'll have to do the same thing. You'll need to make that adjustment. So then you will need to include the whole thing in the parentheses, and then divide it by D21, then you get 5. Right? All right. Any questions so far? Any questions? All right. If there are no more questions, now we are moving on to the next topic, which is annuities. Now, so What is an annuity? Annuity is a kind of multiple cash flow model. And what's a multiple cash flow model? Now, yeah, I don't like this. Okay. All righty, multiple cash flow model. Well, suddenly one. And in multiple cash flow model, there are, how do I cannot retain, oh yeah, this is one. So we can have something like annuity, which is, oh, this doesn't, this is gonna be the hell. Uh, Maybe I'll type. This is useless. So what do I? Okay, so there are two types of annuity. There are two types of multiple cash flow. One is annuity, and the other one is, free form, right? What is the free form? So first of all, let me explain what annuity is. Annuity is a regular deposit or payment, right? Regular um, deposit and payment are two sides of the same coin, if you think about it. So whether I call it deposit or payment, eventually when we put it into a Excel model, the name of the variable will be annuity. I mean, the name of the variable will be payment. Okay. Um, and the annuity is something like this. You make a deposit or payment of regular amount at regular interval. And you have maturity up to a certain number of periods. And in this example, that period is 5 years. The timeline is 5 years, and you are making $1,000 deposit at the end of each year. So there will be 5 payments or 5 deposits. um, 5 payments or 5 deposits. And the payment starts at the end of the year. Okay. Now, the name annuity, but because the name is annuity, it sounds like annual payment. It sounds like an annual thing. No, not necessarily. It doesn't have to be annual, right? The frequency can be anything, like, M can be 1, 2, 4, 12, or 365, or infinity, right? But the thing is, we have, timeline, we have a maturity, meaning timeline that ends at some point, right? And normally you would have, you would deposit, make the deposit at the end of each period, right? So the first deposit will earn, if the interest rate is 20%, first deposit will earn interest 4 times compounded, right? It will earn interest 4 times compounded. The second deposit will earn interest 3 times compounded. Third deposit will earn interest 2 times. Fourth deposit will earn interest just 1 time. Last deposit is just technically deposit, but it practically is not deposit at all. Why? It's just because that last deposit is made at the end of year 5, and at the end of year 5 you withdraw the money. So actually, what is the point of making a deposit at the end of the year when you make the full withdrawal? So it's almost like just, formality, right? It's just formality. You just dip it in and then take it out right away. And even if you don't put it in there, practically there's no difference because it doesn't earn any interest, right? But then still, if you have this contract with the bank, right, annuity contract with the bank, then you will still need to complete that contract, to consummate the contract. Consummate, that's a better word. To consummate the contract, you still need to dip it in there, although you take it out right away, so that it earns no interest, right? Then at the end of year 5, the total of everything will be a sum of all these future values, right? Then you come to this, and you might think, oh, that's not very difficult to do. It's not challenging, but think about it. This is only a very simplified example, right? It's not it's a simplified example, and in reality, our timeline isn't going to be only 5 years. Our timeline is it could be 30 years. And think about it. I told you, payment and deposits are 2 sides of the same coin. Why? Suppose you borrowed money, like mortgage, 30-year mortgage to buy a house, 30-year mortgage, and you make payment, right? Monthly payment. Monthly payment is an exact, it's a typical example of, annuity, because it's a regular amount, right? Paid regular amount at regular interval, right? And then how many? And then it's a payment because you borrowed money and you're paying back, right? You're paying down, actually. You're paying down your loan in monthly installment. So it's an annuity, and it's a payment. But when you pay, you make you make a deposit to a certain account, isn't that right? Not your account, but the lender's account. You're writing a check. The check goes to the lender's account. So it's a deposit, right? So payment and deposit are two sides of the same coin, right? You understand? So in this case, we have a very short timeline, and compounding frequency is annual, so it's not a, you can even do it like this. But in reality, you cannot do it like that, because think about it. If you have a 30-year mortgage payment, that's like 360 payments. You cannot do it like this, right? For 30-year 360 payments, right? And there are two types of annuities. First, ordinary annuity. This is ordinary annuity, and annuity due. Annuity due. What is annuity due? This is annuity due. In this example, it's also 5-year timeline, and it's a little different. The input data is a little different, but then so payment is 5,000 this time, but ignore that. Just consider that to be the same thing as 1,000, right? Assume it is 1,000, and also interest rate is 20% here, but in the example below, interest rate is 10%. I think somebody's microphone is on, and then it's picking up some background noise, and I think that background noise is my voice, coming out of your speaker, which is being picked up by your computer, picked up by your microphone and rebroadcast. So if the input data are all the same, the only difference is that in the second example, the payment is made at the beginning of the year, right? And then if the payment is made at the beginning of the year, then instead of there will be 5, the maximum of 5 compoundings, isn't that right? The first deposit will earn interest 5 times compounded. Second deposit will earn interest 4 times compounded. Third one will earn interest 3 times compounded. Fourth one 2 times. Even the last deposit will earn interest once, right? So then, what is the main difference between the ordinary annuity and annuity due? The main difference is clear. Every deposit has one more compounding than, right? One more compounding than the ordinary annuity, right? This one has one more compound. The future value of this has one more compound. The second one also one more compounding one. So the main difference is one more compounding, right? And that's a very important clue, because later, when we do the actual exercise, we, just to make it easier, right? For every every annuity due problem, all we need to do is just recycle the result of the ordinary annuity and just give it one more compounding, right? 1 plus R, just give it one more 1 plus R, right? Now, anybody was trying to say something? Was anybody trying to say something? Because I heard someone's microphone. Alrighty, so and also the annuity due means the payment is due already to begin with, right? At time 0, the payment in an ordinary annuity, no payment is due at time 0, but in annuity due, payment is due already at time zero. Already at time zero. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So then, next thing is, I wanted to explain this, but there was no way I could. Let me give it a try. I normally don't do this, but whiteboard, because there's a whiteboard in the blackboard, and this is very limited because the space is so limited. Let's see if I can use. No. That means I have to use the mouse. What is this? Okay. Oh, Blackboard also evolved because previously, like 2020, there was no, you couldn't adjust the thickness of your pen stroke. Okay, so color maybe I can. No. Oh, it's blue by default. Okay, in multiple cash flow model, another thing is I told you free form, right? And what's the free form? This is my expression, free form, literally free form, right? In other words, suppose you borrowed money from someone, right? Give me a second. Excuse me a second. All right, sorry about that. So suppose you borrow money from not from a lending organization, but lending institution, but from a family member or from a friend, right? Then there's no you wouldn't write a binding contract. Instead, you will be. They will say, you can pay back. I mean, if you're, obviously, if you're a very trustworthy person, they will say, you can pay back anytime, whenever you can. But let's say you can pay back in one large lump sum, right? In a full large lump sum, 1 year later or 6 months later or whatever. But sometimes you just pay as you go, right? In any partial amount, right? Sometimes so you borrowed $10,000, but you pay back sometimes in irregular. In other words, the payment sometimes you pay back 1,000, sometimes 2,000, sometimes 3,000. So that's a free form, right? So suppose you're making a deposit like this. You're saving your money, and you're making a deposit like this. In that case, think about it. Of course, you have the timeline of 1, 2, let's say 3. So at the end of year 1, right? And the interest rate is let's say in year 1, because you're not in any bounding contract, you're not in any binding contract, right? You're not in any binding contract. It's a free form. There is no fixed interest rate. So interest rate will depend on the market interest rate at the time. So let's say in year 1, the interest rate was 3%. In year 2, 5%. In year 3, 4%. And your deposit in year 1 was, let's say, this is why I don't know. Your deposit was $1K. Oh, we're already out of time, but no. Let's just 3K and 2K. Now then, let's think about what's going to be the future value at year 3. Okay, and think about it. Future value in year 3 at the end of year 3 will be the first 1K will be 1K times, in the first year, it's 1.03. And then in the second year, it will be 1.05. And in the third year, it's this is why, if I can collapse this, but still, there isn't much I can do. And then, you know what I'm saying, then times 1.04. Okay, the first deposit will grow like this because the interest rate is uneven. The second deposit will grow. That's 3K times 1.05. And then in the second year, 1.04. Okay, the third deposit that was made at the beginning of the third year, its future value at the end of year 3 will be 2K times 1.04. Right? Makes sense? And then your future value will be the total of all of this. Your future value will be the total of all of this. right? So eventually, your future value 3 will be the sum of all of those future values, right? So it's called it's free form, multiple cash flow. It's called multiple cash flow model because there are multiple cash outflows from you, cash outflows, and at the end, there will be single cash inflow, right? Think about it. Annuities, you make, these annual payments, monthly payments into the account, deposits into the account, and at the end, so there is multiple cash outflow. At the end, you withdraw a large lump sum, a single cash flow. So that's why it's called multiple cash flow model. Okay, that's why it's called multiple cash flow model. So that's it for today. Any questions so far? Any questions?
Hi,
Mhm.
Jody here. It
Yeah.
doesn't directly has to do with this topic, but just for finals, is it going to be on everything or
No,
does
no, no. They are all broken up. All my exams are broken up by, so you saw the midterm was mainly time value of money.
yes?
Midterm was so whatever we did in the quiz one, we didn't it wasn't included in the midterm. Quiz two, the announcement for quiz two will go out tomorrow. The announcement will go out tomorrow, so look out for the announcement. Uh, okay, announce doesn't mean it starts with the announcement. The exam I'm giving you a heads up in the announcement. If I send out announcement tomorrow, that means the quiz two will be sometime after that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
look out for the announcement. So quiz two, it's got its own, so quiz two will be about the bond valuation and bond valuation and the risk and return. First part of risk and return one. Final will be about stock valuation and risk and return part two. Okay, so um, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. All
Okay.
righty. So, okay. Any other questions? All right. If
Um,
there are no other,
Professor, about
yeah, Angelica, yeah.
the announcement that you sent yesterday about the vaccine, if we don't upload our vaccination card to CUNY first, we might get withdrawn from the class, right?
Yeah, that's the CUNY policy,
Um,
and that
but
comes from the New York State.
well, not recently, a few weeks ago, I got my vaccine, but I'm waiting for my second dose, which is on December 1st. But
Mhm.
like the health services, they told me I have to wait 14 days after getting my second dose to be considered fully vaccinated.
Uh,
So what does
well,
that
I
mean?
don't, I don't think it's, I don't know the exact specific, specific, policy, details of the policy. But if you have at least, I don't know whether it's the CUNY wants you to upload only after the second dose, but you can at least notify them. You can notify them that you can. I don't know. Maybe it's the registrar. You can tell them when your second dose is scheduled, and and as long as they will give probably some consideration for that, or um, I don't think you will be penalized for uh, I don't think you're penalized for that as long as you get the second dose. And uh, once you get the second dose, at least uploading the proof of vaccination at that point won't hurt you. It won't penalize you. At least it's a proof that you got the completely you have completed your vaccination. So I don't think you will be penalized for that. But just to make sure, it's something to discuss with the registrar, right? Because I'm not the one administering or enforcing that policy. It's the registrar. So please check with the registrar. Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions? Any other? Fahad, do you have a question? Fahad, I see your microphone icon is on, but I don't hear anything. I think you have a either your audio or microphone issue. Any other questions? So Fahad, if you since your microphone isn't working, please send the email to me. Okay? Please send your question by email. Uh, what do you mean your book? Look. So send me an email because I can't respond to that. You emailed, but where? I mean, did you send it to my Yahoo Mail? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so I will respond to that. Okay, I will respond to your email. I will reply to your email. Okay. Alrighty. So any other questions? All right. If there are no more questions, I will. So we'll have to call it a day. Have a great afternoon. Great weekend. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Okay. Stop sharing, and I will stop recording and sign out.